Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the Thanos SE from Digital Photo. This is a vest that's supposed to give you an extra support and help you make better content. Now, is it? And does it? Well, I've been testing it for a few months now, and we're going to discuss what are the pros, the cons, who this vest is for, and who it isn't for. Let's do it. Let's first talk about the obvious thing here, and it's the fact that it looks good. It looks awesome, it looks sexy. I got a lot of feedback that you look like RoboCop, that you look really pro, that, oh my God, you have expensive gear. So I got all sorts of feedback. So the first thing is the looks. This thing looks pretty neat, okay? Now, in order to use this and to make it work, you are gonna need some weights. Your gimbal will need to have a minimum weight because the axis needs to have a bit of oomph on it in order to work. Otherwise, the springs are not going to work. In fact, I got it here, and you see, there are two springs, one here, and the way it works is when you have some weight on it, it starts going down and you can balance the axis in order to make it work. So if you're someone that shoots with a very light setup, like a small gimbal, a tiny camera, tiny lens, you don't need this, by all means. I mean, you should know this, but if you are gonna be going around with a lightweight setup, then just don't buy this. One thing I have noticed is that this vest is going to limit your movements. So it is not necessarily a con, but it might be a con for some. For example, I was at an event some time ago and I had this vest on because it was a long event for many hours. I didn't necessarily need it, but I wanted to have the extra support so my forearms wouldn't fall apart by the end of the day. And there was so many people, it was so packed. I mean, it was a tiny space and we were over 900 people. So I could barely move around and I wasn't free to go as I would normally do with a gimbal. It was more hindering me than helping me, if you see what I mean. When I'm shooting regular events with my camera, I normally use this little gimbal. This became my gimbal for a lot of events. This is the Zhiyun Webuild 3. It is very lightweight, has a little support for the wrist here, and it works just fine. I can put my Sony a7S III on it. I can put a bunch of zoom lenses, pretty much anything I need, and it works great. Now, sometimes you want to have a better idea of your exposure, of the color temperature, and so forth. And what I do is I put an external monitor here, a little Holyland Mars M1 on one side, and on the other side here I have a V-mount battery, be it a small rig battery or be it a sweet battery. And what I do is I power the entire setup, be it my camera and my monitor and whatever else I have on this little guy here, and I power everything through that V-mount battery. In that case, it is handy to have this vest on and be able to put the gimbal at the end here. That's going to take most of the weight, and it's going to be enough weight for this vest to make sense. Because if you put a V-mount battery on one side here and a monitor on the other side, and your camera up here, after a while you're gonna start feeling that weight, and it is at the end of your arm. So unless you're very fit and very strong, you are going to feel it rather sooner than later. One thing I don't want to forget is you need to make sure to get the version 2 of this vest if you're gonna get one, not the V1. The way you differentiate the two is the V2 has these little things on the side here with a little screw that sticks out and that keeps the vest flush against your body as much as possible. It gives an extra support here that goes underneath and that keeps it nicely tied up. I saw a lot of reviews talking about some gaps that you're going to have here for the pecs. I personally don't find them to be so disturbing. As you can see, if you tied up properly the clips and the attachments, it's gonna look good. It's not gonna look weird up here. Now, it depends on the body structure. Some people are more fit than others. If you're nicely fit and you have big pecs, you're gonna feel it up and you're not gonna see anything strange. Now, if you're a little bit on the skinny side, you're probably gonna have this bump here, these metal little hoops like, you know, sticking out of the body. That might look a little bit strange. Is this a vest that's going to stabilize your footage automatically? No, it won't. In fact, in the instructions manual, they mention that you need to use the Ninja Walk. Yes, they do write the Ninja Walk. And as you might know, the Ninja Walk is a walk that you use with a gimbal where you learn to walk without doing this because your Z-axis is still being controlled by you. So this is just going to give you an extra little support that we have here with your gimbal inside, and is going to make the weight a little bit less heavy on your arms right here and your wrists. It's going to put it in the lower back. It's going to put it on your shoulders. That's the only reason why you would put a vest like this. It's not to stabilize your shots better, because I tend to stabilize them better without the vest than with the vest. I got pretty much on par level now, but just keep in mind that the purpose is not to stabilize your footage, and you're still gonna have to walk using the ninja walk in order to have stable footage. Now, based on everything I told you, let's discuss who this vest is for, because I saw a lot of reviews on YouTube and they all mention how cool it is and how great and how it's useful and so forth, but they don't actually talk about who should be using it. And while it looks great, it looks awesome, like you're really cool when you have like a Steadicam, the truth is, most of the time I don't take it with me, either because there's too many people, it's too crowded, or because it's a small event, or because my setup is too lightweight and I don't want to go around with something that will make it too cumbersome and will just make it heavier, basically. So I think this is for people that A, have heavy equipment, B, that need to have an extra support because they get tired after a while holding a gimbal with their hands, and C, people that want to bring a lot of things on their gimbal and that just makes it too cumbersome. And I think this is not for people that have a light setup, such as this one. If you're fine with your setup and you are going to have to go run and gun and be able to go around easily, quickly, high angle, low angles, and so forth, don't use this. B, if you're someone that needs to be able to move freely, then just don't use it. And C, if you're going to go in an event where there's a lot of people, you're better off without it. So that's my conclusion. Let me know if you're someone that needs this, if you already own it, if you're gonna get one, or if you have any other question for that matter. I'll answer them as soon as possible. I see you in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe if you like my content and if you want to see more of it. And I see you very soon. Keep taking stable shots. Cheers.